All right, hey traders, TG Watkins here. It is June 16th. It's Thursday that I'm recording this, and we have now had the reaction of the market to the Fed raising interest rates 75 basis points instead of 50. So yesterday I made a newsletter and a little bit of a teaser for you guys yesterday. And so if you want, you can come over here, check it out at profitpilot.com. All right, so we get in here and we take a look at the markets and what is going on. Oftentimes it is the day after the FOMC that really matters, and that was no exception this time around. The thing, though, I was talking to a lot of the traders and subscribers, people who are in the Moxie room and in the options room yesterday while this was happening, because a lot of people were, myself included, I'm generally thinking, hey, price is really oversold. We should be getting some sort of a move to the upside, some sort of bounce. Now, I don't think it's going to be super bullish, although we have yet to see it. But I think that if anything, we're trying to look for maybe a bounce up here and then roll over. But it was a continuation to the downside. So even though I've been looking for generally a move to the upside, and we've been short a lot of names that are working out pretty well for us, yesterday, I was like, I'm just not sure that we're really going to get price to move up into Thursday, or at least I'm definitely not willing to risk that with this unknown with the FOMC and the real reaction the next day. The thing through the Moxie indicator that was communicating this to me, that we should be really cautious about an up move right now, and that we shouldn't believe it, shouldn't trust it, keep it guarded, whatever, was the 15-minute Moxie indicator. Look here. This was absolutely perfect yesterday. Notice how the Moxie indicators were very spread from each other. This is not a good, strong setup. And this is what I've been talking about yesterday going into all this. I said, I don't care that the market is kind of bouncy. Yes, it looks oversold, and we are getting a little bit of a bounce, but I can't trust it yet. And the reason I can't trust it, and the reason I don't think that this is going to be a good, strong move, is the 15-minute Moxie indicator. Again, look how spread they are from each other. That's not strong. And then basically one's above zero and one's pretty much below zero. Like, that's just not strong. And so I looked at that and said, yeah, don't trust this yet. Okay, we're just not there yet. And price can always keep going lower, because when people want to get out, they just hit the eject button and they just get out. So it doesn't have to make too much rhyme or reason for price to keep going down, because nobody's willing to buy and people need to get out. It doesn't make sense, so just don't fight it. The other thing I was looking at is oftentimes my elf shoe pattern, the 21 EMA is the arch of the foot, and you can see right here on the hourly chart, price bounced up into the underside of the hourly 21, and that was resistance. So still not seeing anything of how this thing's going to respond. We do have options expiry tomorrow, which was Friday. Well, by the time you guys see this, it will already have happened. Sure, yes, we are seeing some divergence here, but there's nothing I can actually do with this. Just nothing going on. Price is still below a downtrending 15-minute 50. Yes, of course, things are looking oversold, but I just don't know what to do here. I'm short on a lot of names. They're working. That's great. Maybe we're going to get a bounce at some point. I don't quite see it yet. Maybe we're going to get a bear flag. That could happen too. There's not much to do here other than kind of ride the market down with individual names. And as far as the S&P itself, it's kind of at a sticky point of what do we do? I'm not sure I really want to go short right here. And the FOMC announcement made it difficult for me to do any kind of trade wrapping around this because of that news event. And trying to go long, well, I can't go long yet because nothing's here. I mean, there's just nothing happening. So, yeah, stuck between a rock and a hard place as far as this goes. Our individual names are doing just fine. And as far as the S&P goes, we just have to kind of see what the next opportunity is. Now, if we go look at the UVXY, and more like the VIX, actually. So let me show you that. There is some development here that you guys should be aware of on the monthly time frame. So again, this is the monthly time frame. This is a lot of action here. Okay, this is very tight. It looks to me like price is basically right here flagging into the uptrending monthly 10, and this is getting real nice and tight. And you can even see here on the weekly chart, it's really starting to kind of build into a range, and the monthly 50 is moving up and the Moxie indicator is above zero. This sure looks to me like something is building and getting ready to do something. All right, so do be aware of that. The other thing, I had a subscriber talk to me today and say, isn't the or is the UVXY and the VIX a good product to buy and hold? And I said, no, it is a perpetually declining product. So usually it's a terrible thing to buy and hold. You can only use it for moments in time, and then you have to get rid of it. I did give a caveat to that in the last few months, we have been seeing the UVXY base and actually start making higher lows. And I said, normally you would not want to hold on to this thing, and I still wouldn't want to hold on to it. But I said, the fact that the UVXY is no longer going down and is actually starting to kind of build higher lows is something we really need to be paying attention to. Okay, this sure seems like it's communicating to me that something bigger is about, is on the horizon. Now, when is that going to happen? I don't know, but I think we all are kind of expecting that there's going to be some sort of big puke, some sort of crash in the market. Sure, I just don't know when. And I'm trying to use tools like the UVXY and the VIX to help me figure that out. But yeah, something's building, and we just need to kind of figure out when that's going to happen. And we are seeing that on, daily, hourly, weekly timeframes, monthly timeframes for the VIX itself. So yeah, some real big stuff that's happening out there. Now the Nasdaq, one thing that has been going around out there is that I think the Nasdaq actually hit something like its weekly 50 or monthly 50. Maybe the moving averages are a little off on this one, but my understanding is that it came down and actually tapped some support. Maybe it was the weekly 200 in that kind of range. So there was some things going around saying that, hey, they've kind of come down, found some support. And if you look, it has come into the bottom of that level, of that right there, that consolidation area. Something to note, we'll have to see if this is getting pretty oversold to where maybe there's a bounce. But again, I just can't quite see anything yet. Yes, they're getting oversold, but I just don't see a turn yet. We'll have to wait. The IWM, if we come over here, and we'll just stick with here on the daily chart. Again, not much is going on. The only thing I could really point out is that price ran right smack into the underside of a downtrending daily 50. So that was pretty clear. And then if we look here on the 15-minute time frame, we were definitely seeing some divergences leading up to that. And you can see here that as price tried going up, the Moxie indicator was just down and dead like that, and then rolled over right there into the underside of the 15-minute 50, and then down, down, down. So we'll have to see. Is there a bounce coming, or is this going to get worse? And maybe we'll just go sideways for a little bit into that. Then if we get into the dollar, let's see, we want UUP, okay? And then we come over here, we'll do that on the higher time frames as well. Now the dollar maybe has double top. Now I don't really follow the dollar too much, but this is something to watch because a rising dollar is going to put pressure on a lot of things. So maybe we can kind of keep in touch about gold and see if gold is finally going to do something and what's going on with dollar, and that might take some pressure off stocks, not too sure. But the reason I'm looking at this is this might be a little bit of a double top near term, okay? Not saying it for sure, but just something to watch out for. And then also we can see here on the monthly time frame, it's pretty darn extended. I mean, it's come up here and it's been hitting that third ATR on the monthly time frame. And price is very far away from the monthly 10. So, any normal kind of stock, I would say that this is very, very overbought, and I'd probably be looking to phase out of it. Now the dollar, maybe it's different because it's a different product and it's more of a goes with governments and everything else, not actually a stock. So just kind of keep that in mind. But we, as it could be seen, some divergence like that, and we did see higher highs, but the Moxie indicator is basically level. So yeah, just kind of keep an eye on that. We saw that the dollar jumped up right there on the daily chart, big gap between price and the 8 EMA up into the third ATR. Now it's back down again. All right, then with that, we can take a look at gold. And I've been hesitant with gold recently. I'm not totally set on it yet. And if we look at the hourly chart, there are some things here. We could say there's a double bottom. We do have some positive divergence. I do like that if we are going to go bullish, at least the 50 and 200 are crossing each other. So that's kindling at least. But it's going to take some time. I really prefer to see usually price engage with a moving average. And so we're going to have to see price kind of get up and over and then follow a moving average like that. It's not there yet. Again, with the double bottom. But we do have price kind of dealing with a downtrending daily 50. So if anything, there's going to be like the first move in order for it to get past the daily 50. And then we'll have to see it kind of come back down like this and hold this. And then we'll have to see about it engaging with those moving averages. So I know it's been up when the market's been down recently, and I'm keeping an eye on it, but I just haven't quite found anything actionable with gold or GDX or any of the gold miners quite yet. Then if we come over and we look at oil, USO, I've kind of been looking at this as a little bit of a blow off top, and there's been a lot of consensus that whenever oil stops going up, because it's basically the last good sector and big sector that has been bullish, and if it starts going down and can't hold up and can't stay bullish, well, then that might actually kind of be the end of the market. That might be what signals the market really rolling over in a big way. So as I said, this does kind of seem like not necessarily a blow off top, but kind of an exuberant run of some sort. You can see that when it finally broke out, it did head straight for that third ATR. It definitely got overbought, so we've been expecting to pull back. We got out of anything oil related right up there. It was perfect. And we had a huge move here that it never touched the hourly 50 for quite some time. And then even on the 15-minute, you can see double top, some negative divergence there. And if we do bring this over to the monthly and weekly, we just know that this thing is also very extended. If we take a look at this, you can see here there was a big gap between price and the 8 EMA, and it also hit the third ATR. So even extended on that time frame with the weekly chart. So that's USO. Keep an eye on that for weakness, and that weakness might then seep into the market as well. Then we come over here to UNG, and this is another thing that I've been talking about to the subscribers. In fact, we had a couple of them take KOLD, which is the inverse leveraged ETF of UNG. So just like how we trade BOIL on the way up, you can trade cold on the way down, and it worked out. I mean, I didn't take it, a couple of them did, and I think it worked out to the tune of 30% basically overnight. So that was a great move. I didn't expect it to happen in one night. Figured it was going to take more time, but you can see here price moving up. Notice that the Moxie indicator was moving down, and then price got stuck underneath the hourly 50, the Moxie indicator below 0, and then kept getting rejected by the underside of the downtrending 15-minute 50 with the Moxie indicator below 0. And basically all of this was because it had such a good move that price had never touched the daily 50 for support, and so there was a pretty big air pocket under there. And so whenever this thing was ready to finally roll over, it rolled over in a big way and went straight to the third ATR on the daily chart. So that's UNG, natural gas, and yeah, it's getting hit again. Oil's kind of getting hit, natural gas getting hit. We're seeing some really crazy things out there, especially as far as supply, demand, and then economic indicators. So do be careful out there. It seems to me that things are starting to slow down a bit. And we come over here to GLNG. This is another liquid natural gas shipping company, transport company, and basically a double top. We were trading this long. We got out break even. Like we were trading it right here, had a good move, and then it just torpedoed. So we got out break even. And yeah, the Moxie indicator, look at that, just kept going down. At the time, it looked like it was holding the daily 50, and you can see the Moxie indicator was here, and I wanted to see it start going up a little bit. But when this thing rolled over and came back down to our entry, we just got out. Now look at this. Now the Moxie indicator is way below 0, double top. So I would say these things, these tickers are starting to show us signs of exhaustion, and they are starting to run out of energy. How about LNG? This one hasn't been going anywhere for quite some time. And you can see here, basically it was a triple top, but notice that the Moxie indicator kept going down, and it is now really far below 0. And that makes this last move up on LNG an inverse trampoline move. So here, price should not be over the 50 if the Moxie indicator is below 0, and that is a rule that we've had for a very long time, and that helps keep us safe on names like this. All right, so let's see. Then we go over to, say, coal. So BTU, let me kind of show you here on the larger time frames. So BTU, I think that I'm seeing some similar patterns. Let me just first start with the big one, third ATR, and a bit of a gap here between price and the monthly 10, third ATR, gap between price and the monthly 10. And then on the weekly chart, there's what I call the inverse elf shoe. So it's essentially a double top. And you can see it here. So here's the leg, here's the heel, here's the arch of the foot, there's the ball of the foot, there's the inverted elf toe. And where did price go? To the weekly 50. How about this again? Here's the leg, here's the heel, here's the arch of the foot, there's the ball of the foot. Where are we going to go? Probably at least to the weekly 50. Now, maybe this thing goes further, because if this market is starting to fall apart and these bullish areas are no longer going to be bullish, then yes, I would imagine it's going to fall back down here weekly 50. And then if it really gets going, it could fall a little bit further, somewhere below the weekly 50. Then on the daily chart, again, talking about the inverse trampoline move. Since we're in a bearish market, we're starting to see bearish setups, and an inverse trampoline move is one of those. So price should not be over the 50 if the Moxie indicator is below 0, and that was telling me that this thing was likely to move back down. And I think it's going to start going much further, as I said, weekly 50. If we look at this, price has been moving up, and then the Moxie indicator just basically went flat. And then here you go again, just like I was talking about on the S&P. Notice that the 15-minute Moxie indicator is very spread from each other. One's above 0, one's below 0, not strong. So there is zero bullishness on something like BTU as far as coal goes. So again, kind of talking about these indicators through stocks and sectors that are telling us what's going on with the economy and demand, and kind of the bigger picture of what we should be expecting out there. Now, CEIX, another energy coal play, and this is something I had mentioned to my traders last week. I said, hey, there is a big gap here between price and the daily 50, so let's watch out for it. And lo and behold, on Monday, came all the way down to the daily 50. On the hourly chart, what we could see what that looked like was big picture, price kept going up, Moxie indicator kept going down. Near picture, we could see price was moving up and the Moxie indicator was lagging. You can see here it was still below 0 the whole time. And even when it got over 0, it really didn't do it in a very strong way. It was very late to the party, and then it immediately rolled over. We could even see that on the 15-minute time frame. Higher high, lower high. So there's your negative divergence, and then it got pushed down. I bet this thing goes lower too. So CEIX is another energy, coal type play. Another more stuff that we can talk about. How about Starbulk, SBLK? And it looked for a while that the shippers were actually doing well. I was like, this is strange. I don't know why they're going up. They shouldn't be, considering what's going on with the economy. So some people were trading them. I didn't want to, just because it felt weird, and they had big ranges, and I was like, this makes no sense that these things are going up right now. Well, lo and behold, something changed, and they've all gotten hit in a big way. So what we could see is price up, Moxie indicator down. We can see price up, Moxie indicator down, and then we could even see a little bit here, price up and Moxie indicator down and through there. And then right there, price got rejected by the underside of a downtrending 15-minute 50, and then just kind of kept following that. So of course, they can bounce and do whatever, but overall, they look like they're going to be trending downward. How about ZIM? Talked about this one a couple weeks ago on one of these videos. Showed you the double top, negative divergence. How about this? Price moving up, Moxie indicator moving down, and then right here, you can see price kept trying to move up. Moxie indicator was not supporting it, and then it finally just broke, and the whole bottom fell out through there. So that was a big move to the downside. That was ZIM. And then EGLE. Another one that looked interesting. It's like, okay, hey, well, if we're trying to play something bullish, these are bullish. But they looked weird. They didn't seem like, why were they going up? And, yes, they were bullish for a little bit, but when they finally gave up, they gave up in a big way, just broke and then down. And you could see that the 15-minute was not supporting that. So if we look here, price kept going higher and higher and higher, and the Moxie indicator was going flat, right there, flat. And then it really rolled over. You can even see that on the hourly chart, price going up, Moxie indicator just flat. So not very supporting of an upward move like that. So that was EGLE. And then let's see, we come over to some of the bigger names, Tesla. Now Tesla, for a while, had actually been having relative strength. If we look at it, the ticker, the price, actually had made a higher low compared to the market making lower lows. So relative strength. That's still true here. We do actually have price holding a double bottom, but this is still really having a hard time trying to find any kind of support, any kind of bottom that they can actually work with at this point. Now, sure, if the market's going to bounce, probably Tesla's going to be one of the first ones to take advantage of that. Now, maybe a couple things. They are announcing yet another stock split, and usually leading up to a stock split, a stock is bullish, but then after the stock split, it tends to roll over. So keep that in mind. Maybe that's part of the reason why this is trying to hold up a little bit in its anticipation of that stock split. I don't actually know when that is yet. But I did also hear that they are going to be raising their prices. The input costs for their cars are rising, and so they need to raise prices in order to keep their profit margins basically. So they're facing some headwinds too. Yes, we do have a trampoline move on the hourly chart, but that doesn't necessarily have to work. It can keep fading. I don't really see any setups on the 15-minute time frame. There's a little bit of divergence here, but nothing is actually engaging. Nothing's holding yet. And, you know, I would say that, yes, possibly there's a gap between price and the daily 50 to where maybe price could come up to it, but that doesn't have to happen either. Price could just kind of go sideways until the 50 meets it and then goes further down. So do be careful with this one. Maybe there's an opportunity to the upside, but this whole market could also continue to fall apart. Apple, basically same thing as Tesla. It is making new lows though, so weaker than Tesla. And, you know, maybe some divergences, but there's just nothing to do here. The Moxie indicator is below 0. I don't see anything. There's a little bit of divergence here, but price is still below the 15-minute 50. There's just not much to do here. It looks just like the market. Yes, it's technically oversold, but things can keep getting more and more oversold, so there's just not much to do here. And then I've had some people talking to me about China. China is lowering interest rates, so they are trying to ease their economy. And that has given them a bit of a boost for their stocks and stock market and stuff like that. But I think for now it's temporary. If we look at the weekly time frame, we've only had price move up into the weekly 21. That's typically a resistance area. And we generally see price come back down. Now, if this is going to be bullish at some point, we see price come back down. It will test the low area. We don't know where that low is going to be, but somewhere. And then if it holds, then eventually it can come back up, and that would form kind of the retest of the low area, the double bottom, the elf shoe, all that kind of stuff. But this means that even just looking at this chart, it's got a ways to go. The weekly 8 is still significantly below the weekly 21. This is not in an uptrend yet. If anything, maybe it's trying to hammer out a bottom, but that can still take a long time to do. And if we look here on the daily and hourly, there's still not much that I'm really willing to work with. Yes, there was a trampoline move back here, but again, not trading these stocks. And you can see that it's already come up here, third ATR, got really extended, and now it's pulled back. And I wouldn't be surprised to kind of see this come back down a little bit. You know, not sure where, but I have a feeling it's going to be falling back below its daily 50. So I'm not interested in Chinese stocks. In fact, I've got a couple that I'm shorting because they have had moves to the upside, and now I think they're going to fade. So we are shorting those stocks, and I think they'll treat us just fine. All right, so thanks again for tuning in. If you guys are interested in what you've been hearing so far, come over here, check me out at profitpilot.com, where you can go over to services. And if you want, then you can sign up for any of the classes or the trading rooms or anything else that I have to offer. So thanks again. Hope you guys are doing well, and I'll see you later.
Hey guys, Dave Keller here with StockCharts.com. Thanks so much for watching our video. If you enjoyed it, and we hope you did, hit the like button right below. Also, we have so much new content every day. Consider subscribing to the channel. Just hit the subscribe button in the video or right below. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Have a fantastic day.